All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unpack two really powerful Hindi poems by Sushil Kumar Patial, and they get you thinking about a huge question. In a world that's so full of religion, where do you actually find God? This is a journey into faith, doubt, and the search for meaning. So let's get into it.
This quote right here, it's how the source introduces the poet, and man, it just sets the stage perfectly. What we're talking about here isn't fantasy poetry. No, this is poetry that looks life in all its messy, complicated, contradictory glory right in the eye. It's all about getting as close to the raw truth as possible.
Okay, so Act 1, we're going to break down this first poem, I Have Seen It Well. And it's not just a poem, it's really set up as this direct one-on-one conversation with a creator. Think of it like a spiritual audit, where the poet is just taking stock of the world and laying out his findings. And this first line, wow, it is the key to the whole thing. The poet is basically saying, I've looked all over your world for you, but I only found you when I lost myself. That idea, that you have to let go of your own ego to really see things clearly, that's the engine that drives this entire poem. So with that idea in place, that you see clearly only when you lose yourself, the poet starts pointing out all these baffling paradoxes he sees everywhere in creation. He's not just taking things at face value. Nope, he's questioning the whole setup, laying out the evidence for this huge cosmic mystery. First up, he tackles this massive inequality of power. He looks around and essentially asks the creator, hey, what's the deal? Why did you make some beings so incredibly strong while making others, well, completely helpless? It's just such a raw, honest question about how unfair life can seem. And then the questioning gets even more personal. He's looking at how love and suffering seem to be handed out almost randomly. For some people, life is just this beautiful gift of love. But for others, he says their whole existence feels like a cruel joke. You can really feel that emotional whiplash he's seeing in the world. Okay, now he zooms in on us, on human nature itself. On one hand, he sees these people who are so humble and pure, like a blade of grass, just simple and grounded. And then, in the exact same world, you've got these other people who get a tiny bit of success, and bam, their pride just explodes into something destructive. So where does all this lead? This is the big, powerful conclusion of the poem. After laying out all these problems, all these contradictions, where does he finally find proof of the divine? It's not in power, it's not in perfection, it's in freedom. The caged bird. It's this amazing metaphor for the soul, right? Trapped by ego or society. And when that bird gets free, for the poet, that act of liberation is the ultimate proof that something bigger is at play. All right, Act 2. So, if the answer is all about this personal freedom, this internal journey, what happens when we look outside, at society? This is where the second poem comes in. It completely shifts gears from the internal to a sharp, external observation. The poet is now looking at how we, as a group, search for God. So he starts by just painting this picture of the world we all know. He lists all the places we go to find faith: temples, mosques, churches, synagogues, gurdwaras, you name it. And his point is pretty clear. Look anywhere and you'll see humanity busy with religious activity. This whole search for something more is totally universal. It's happening everywhere. But here's where the tension really builds. It's not just that people are religious, it's that everyone claims they're doing the right thing. Everyone says they're earning righteousness. So what he's seeing is a world that's just full of people performing piety. And then he drops the bombshell. This question just hits you like a punch. Okay, so if everyone is so busy earning righteousness, if all our religious institutions are dedicated to piety, then why does the world's moral state seem to be getting worse? Why does the burden of sin, as he puts it, just keep getting heavier? That is the huge paradox he leaves us hanging with. So let's try to connect the dots here. How do these two poems talk to each other? Well, the second poem points out this massive problem, right? A world of performative religion that isn't making things better. But maybe the first poem already gave us the answer. It suggests that true understanding isn't found in all that outside stuff, but in the quiet internal journey of losing yourself. And that is the big, provocative idea this poetry really leaves you with. See, the poet doesn't just hand you an easy answer. Instead, he flips the question back on us. In a world that is so loud with religion, what is the real path? Is it the tough, quiet, internal work of looking inward and letting go? Or is it just the outward performance of following the crowd? And that's a question that's really worth asking ourselves.